Patrick Cook here. Well, welcome to the third session of our project-oriented Mandelbulb 3D animation tutorial series. Oof, don't ask me to repeat that. Now, in the previous sessions, I kind of talked about, what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do is actually create an animation along the theme of this particular graphic here, not necessarily identical, but what we're going to do is we're going to step through the production of this graphic, certainly the lighting, and of course the animation, the keyframes, and then we'll get to a point of rendering. So along the lines of the Mandelbulb 3D fractal generator software. If you haven't already, you might want to get yourself over to the website and download it over here in the news. Download it, get yourself squared away if you want. If you don't want, you just want to kind of sit it out and see what I'm doing for a while, that's fine too. You don't have to follow along. Watching is perfectly fine to give you an idea of what's going on. Let's talk about the software a little bit. All right, now, so it, very simple interface actually. You have basically three different main windows that you're going to be working with. This is referred to as the main window. All right, and in this window we have access to the formulas tab. We have the lighting, I should say panel. We have the lighting panel. All right, and we also have a post-processing panel. All right, so we'll just close these here. Okay. Now, this is the main view, and we have control over the resolution of the of the main screen, the main render. We also have the ability to open, save our project as we go along. So this is the file management. Here's some preferences over here. That's kind of a general utility area. Over here we have access to the navigator and also the animation windows. We're not going to be using the mutagen, which will take and randomly, well, semi-randomly, apply various properties to the formulas. We're going to build our own from scratch. We're not going to let the software automate it for us at all. And we have some other tools over here which we're not going to get into for a while. But now, so your main windows pertaining to the Mandelbulb 3D software will be the main, the navigator, and also the animation window. All right, so there we go. So those are the three windows that we're going to be utilizing most of the time. Now, over here on the navigator, we have the ability to modify the properties of the formulas. The formulas have been determined over on this panel on the main screen, and we have the ability to modify those formula properties and then see how it affects our fractal. We'll get into that a little bit more. Down here on the navigator, this is the navigation. So we have the ability to look up, look down, look right, look left, walk forward, walk back, reverse. We have the ability to slide up, slide down, slide right, slide left. So these are your navigation. We also have the ability to rotate clockwise, rotate counterclockwise. All right. So this is your navigation area right in here. This is the formula properties area. And that's really quite straightforward, actually. Now, in order to get any work that we do on the navigator back over to the main screen where we have a higher resolution render, we would use the view to main. I'll just give you an example. I don't know, let's just take and adjust. There we go. There we go. Okay. Yeah, okay. We'll do that just to kind of show how dramatically it changed. So once I've modified the properties of the formulas are determined over here on the main window. I can send this to the main window, and in which case I have to recalculate it here. So there we go. All right. So in order to get this over to the navigator, then I use the parameter button. Boom. Now nothing's changed because I haven't changed anything up here on this main screen. So the process of navigating your fractal and modifying the properties of the formulas is done on the navigation window, and we send it back to the main. We send it back to the navigator, and it really is as basic as that. Now, this is just a 30,000 foot overview of the Mandelbulb software. This is not the end. Now, in order to get this image up to our animator, all right, and define it as a keyframe, we come here and we click this button. All right, and what that did is that gave us a keyframe. Now, the way that the animation works is that it will actually interpolate the frames in between two keyframes. So we have keyframe 1, we have keyframe 2. Let's make a keyframe 2. All right, I'm just going to modify this fractal, just make it different. There we go. So I'm going to send that to my animator up there as a keyframe. So I have two keyframes now, keyframe 1, keyframe 2, and when I tell it to render the animation, it's going to interpolate the frames in between these two keyframes. So that's generally how this process works. So just kind of in review, 30,000 foot level here. My fractal over here, I define the formulas, I define the lighting, I then send that over to the navigator, and I modify the formula properties. I send that up to my animation, my animator, and as a keyframe. I send it back over to main if I want to take a look at it in higher resolution. All right. I come back over here. Let's say I want to move. All right. Change my look. I want to make a keyframe. I just made another keyframe here. Okay. I send that over to main. I can take a look at that. So the process of creating an animation is determining your graphic with the formulas, all right, determining your lighting, doing your navigation and formula properties manipulation, creating keyframes, and then you get to a point where you render these the frames in between the keyframes to the point where you get a full animation that is laid down as a number of files that you then bring into a video editor, a non-linear editor, an NLE, and you create your movie. So that's really the overall process that we're involved with here. And this is what these are the tools. These three tools are the primary tools that we're going to use to develop our project, which again now is along the lines of this graphic right here. And what I want to be able to do is to animate. I want to animate through this graphic, but I need to make the graphic first, and I need to assign the lighting, and I need to create the keyframes in order to get that animation movie as an end result. And I'm going to shoot for 4K. I'm going to shoot for high detail, an interesting and fractal environment, and I want to shoot for doing more than just a straight fly-through. I want to be able to twist and turn and up and down and dive and that sort of thing. I want this to really be an interesting, fun presentation to view. Certainly, that's going to mean that we have to work a little harder, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. So, please join me in the next session where we'll continue our discussion of the Mandelbulb 3D animation project that we're working on, that you can follow along with. If you haven't done so yet, go over there and download the Mandelbulb3D, fire it up, kind of poke your way around, and join me in the next session where we'll continue our work. I'll see you there.